You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another podcast. It's the Time Enough podcast. This is Matt here. Andrew is over there. Andrew Shearer. Sup?
Hi.
We're getting primordial up in this hoopty today. We are not actually looking at an episode of the Twilight Zone, as is the normal purview of this podcast, but going a little retro. It's the Westinghouse Desilu Theater Playhouse. Excuse me, we can't leave out a word like playhouse.
Yeah.
So this is, it's kind of a pilot and kind of not for the Twilight Zone. This is a Rod Serling sort of getting his script feet wet, so to speak, I guess.
Yeah.
I wrote down a few of the deets, so I'll just get through that right now. Let's see. We have William Bendix playing Peter Jensen, our lead. He often played these sour types, and it garnered him an Academy Award nominee for the movie Wake Island in 1942. Bendix was also a frequent co-star for Alan Ladd. I can't picture Alan Ladd at the moment, but I certainly know his name, and I know I've seen him in a movie, but not this one.
Yeah.
Martin Balsam appears as Dr. Gillespie. He had quite a time in the career in the movies themselves, having roles in 12 Angry Men as Angry Juror number 1. He shows up, I believe, as an investigator in Psycho. He's in Breakfast at Tiffany's and one of the not offensive roles, I believe.
It's true.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the time element. And so does this go in your normal run of episodes?
Nope.
No, yeah, because I had to do like a Google search to figure out which of my Blu-ray said it was even on. So
It's at the last disc of season 1. It's on the bonus disc for that.
yes,
Or the final disc, whatever it is. Well, yeah, because it doesn't fit. I mean, it's kind of a. I mean, this isn't a proper Twilight Zone episode and wasn't released that way. Desi Arnaz was he was a big supporter of Rod Serling. I mean, some could say that the Twilight Zone might not have happened because of him. Serling had a great reputation as a writer, and he was a name in television as a writer because of his work on Playhouse 90. And so I think they're willing to just kind of. I think Arnaz wanted Serling just to do whatever he wanted, but of course sponsors and TV executives also, and the money people have their say as well. And for what I know about the time element is that I don't think there were too many big fans of it. I think Arnaz really kind of, and the producer who also had a lot of weight, I can't remember his name, but they really are the ones that pushed it through, because I don't think this was something they wanted to put on air. It was 1 hour as opposed to the compressed Twilight Zone episodes.
I was gonna say it's you're saying it's not a proper Twilight Zone, which it's not, but it does have the feel of one of those slightly more meandering season 4 episodes where they do go on for an hour.
That's true, and that's right, because they did try out that format. It's I mean, in terms of production too, it just feels really like the TV of the time. The production's pretty flat, and there's a lot of hysterics, but I don't feel I don't feel the tension is there either. And I feel that way about those 1 hour Twilight Zone episodes for the most part as well. I think belongs in the.
I think that's how Rod Serling felt as well. So
yeah, no, it's true. And so yeah, with this one, and also it's very of the, I don't know, Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court,
right.
This is kind of the time travel stuff that they did that was before it was all about the time machine.
Yeah.
A lot of times you'll see a time travel story and there'll be some sort of scientific device of some sort, or with Serling sometimes it's just a tchotchke or some whatever that's doing the thing. But in this, it's a guy in a psychiatrist's office, or a therapist, I guess it would be.
And for this podcast, of course, I'm typically going to make the guests do the the intro from the show. This one doesn't really have one. It has like Desi Arnaz doing it, which is totally bizarre.
Yeah, the only
It's like
thing
I should
weirder.
ask. It's like I should ask you to do the plot in like a fake Cuban accent or something, right?
That wouldn't be right. Well, and then there's of course Arnaz coming in at the end to
Yeah, yeah,
explain it to you,
yeah.
which is, I
And
think at the
then
time it didn't even go over well with TV critics. Critics were fans of Serling. They loved his writing. I mean, all good reviews. But I don't. I think they were really put off by the hand holding that was done at the end
yeah,
of this to sort of explain it, which audiences now would love.
and then Lucy to come in for 30 seconds and say she's gonna go get some eggs or whatever.
Actually, it would be great if she did the endings instead of him. Like Lucy, or audio commentary, that would be good. Like you watch it and then they play it for Lucille Ball and just record her reactions through the whole thing. How great would
Oh
that
my.
have been?
Yeah. So in I guess with it's the refrigerator at the end, yeah, which does not play Connor for Real's new album. That was unfortunate. So for any of you Lonely Island fans.
Yeah, that's a deep cut for Lonely Island.
So I guess we're gonna go for the my other podcast format. I'm just gonna say, hey, can you spit out the plot for this real quick, C's?
Oh yeah, sure. So yeah, this is about a man who's basically being in a therapy session because he thinks he's had this dream, this very vivid dream about going into the past. And so he has his 1958 knowledge, and he finds himself in 1941 before the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Yes, and eventually gets to live the dream. So
Yes, he does. You want it so bad. Here it is, Sparky.
well, yeah. It again the time travel rules, like you said, they're very Mark Twain, and they don't quite
Uh-huh.
make any sense. Which
Uh,
it's a metaphysical trip, I guess, more
yeah.
than a science fiction trip. So, um, I don't know what are the more bizarre dreams you've had? Anything along these lines? I've had some.
I think you're the one that's got the good ones, man. My dreams tend to be so boring. Like I was just telling my daughter, it's like, you know what I dreamed last night, man? I dreamed that I was trying to quote a movie for like comedic effect based on a situation I was in the dream, and I couldn't remember the quote correctly. That was my that was my
It's
dream.
it's too
It's
bad you
just
couldn't
annoying.
remember it when you woke up, because then it would just be something that was like completely nonsensical and weird.
No, no. If I don't tell someone my exact dream or write it down by the first hour I'm awake, it's disappeared.
No, I've had some like pretty wide, big screen, like insane dreams. I put out an album called "I Often Dream of the Apocalypse" for a reason. Um,
Okay, it's all making sense now. I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. I've had dreams where I'm like, I'm at a park and suddenly like the mountains are coming down and making a tidal wave of Earth, and asteroids hitting and all that sort of stuff. It's pretty. No, they're usually not nightmares. It's like, whoa, check that out. The closest I've got in real life would be walking along late at night, and it was like a meteor, I guess, coming through, but it was just like a really big fireball, and I mean, it like actually flashed light on some of the surface. And I was like, oh, here everything ends, but that didn't happen, so that's probably for the best.
Shit. Yeah, no, I have no. I don't. That's not. I often don't even recall having had a dream.
Oh, the
Um,
fireball was not a dream. That was just me walking along late at night.
okay. Yeah, I
I,
just.
and I actually thought maybe the world was about to end, or at least my little part of it. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you see a fireball coming out of the sky, and that's where your mind goes.
yeah, that's right.
This is how
So,
the dinosaurs sucked it.
but in this episode, I do have, I do have a certain affinity for Desi Arnaz. He's one of my birthday buddies. It's
Oh, is that right?
him, Dr. Seuss, Lou Reed, and Mikhail Gorbachev.
Oh shit! I'm Miyazaki and Robert Duvall and Diane Keaton and Marilyn Manson.
Okay, the last one doesn't date so well now, track so well
No,
now, but
absolutely not.
yeah, I'm pretty cool. I mean, I'm cool with my list. I have misogynists, but
Yeah.
creative. Like Lou Reed apparently was not a fun person to have any sort of anything to do with.
Nah, but he's no romance. I mean, I almost didn't even mention him except for I just think for color it seemed.
Dr. Seuss was a Grinch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is Mikhail Gorbachev still alive? I think
No
he's not.
way.
Now I'm curious. I'm going
There's
to
no
see.
way.
I
He was
feel like
old
there's
when
no
we
way.
were kids.
I know, that's my point. He wasn't as old as you thought he was, though.
Oh, okay. It was all that cabbage.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he was like, when we thought he was like older, and hell, he's actually like 50 something, I think.
Oh God. Maybe we shouldn't find out how old he is.
Now I'm checking. You might be right. He might be. No, he's still
But
kicking. He is. So he's 90.
oh God. Okay.
Okay, and he's still alive. Interesting.
Yeah, no, it's crazy sometimes. I just read Elvira's autobiography, and it turned out she's 70. So she's been older than my mom this whole time.
I actually, I'm surprised she's that young because the character dates from like the late 70s, right?
81.
81. Well, they're close enough, right?
Yeah.
But
Pretty close. Yeah.
but yeah, it's just hard to know who is Mandela effect themselves out of existence, like the
That's
lead
true.
character of this episode.
Yeah, no, very true.
I guess that's the point. Once he has the entire dream, what butterfly effects or whatever, or I'm going to say Mandela effect is probably a better descriptor of what
Oh
happens
God,
here.
the butterfly effect. That's actually no, Mandela would be better because the whole butterfly effect thing is of something seemingly minor that then causes this catastrophic thing.
Right. This is kind of a more major thing, I guess. And
Yeah.
but yeah, the Mandela effect. Like, did that person die 5 years ago? What? They're dying now? What? Huh?
Yeah.
Who are the
Yeah.
Berenstain Bears? That sort of thing. That's the one that gets everyone, isn't it?
Yeah.
No one is willing to accept it's the Berenstain Bears because why would it be the Berenstain Bears? That doesn't make any damn sense.
I don't know what a Berenstain would be.
What's their name, right? But why
Yeah.
the bear stain? Is that like a a wild animal piss stain or what?
Just a very hairy fellow, I would think.
Yeah. I'm a bear.
Papa Bear and Baby Bear.
Yeah. But so I do feel like this is kind of like a early iteration of kind of that vibe, which
Yeah, no, you're totally right, and it totally is. The main reason why I don't tend to watch this one, I think I've only seen it twice, is because it has a curiosity factor, just being so early because this was Serling's like first filmed, like this is the beginning of the Twilight Zone. This is seeing them kind of working the bugs out. And so it has that going for it. But in terms of a film, in terms of story, I just don't it's too long and it's
yeah.
too flat.
Yeah, 25 minutes would have probably given you a much punchier thing.
Yeah.
Though
Yeah, and
we do get a past of doctors handing out cigarettes. It's kind of fun. You want a cigarette?
yeah.
How often do you get that anymore?
It's in The Exorcist, it's always pretty hilarious while he's out in the hallway talking to Reagan's mom. He's like lights one up, in his white coat still wearing.
When he first goes to 1941, they have like sing 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 on the soundtrack, right? Which I
Yes, they
imagine
do.
is already a cliche at this point. But I was like, if you made this today, it would have to be like Britney Spears' "Toxic" on the soundtrack.
Let's not go there because
I mean,
that would just make me feel incredibly old. But yeah, no, it's true. Thinking of how not far out they were at the time this would have aired.
yeah, it was just like, oh, everyone would have been going around talking about how awesome Austin Powers was, right?
Yeah. But also though, it kind of rattled some of the sponsors, I think, as well, because some of them had military contracts, and so I think there was I mean, it was Serling's battle for his entire career with getting to do things the way he wanted to do them because of really like fearful people in the ad sphere, which if you're on TV, that's the name of the game. So you're always dealing with what they do and do not want you to do. I don't think it had like a bad effect on this necessarily because um, it had to have been controversial. There's nothing you could do. You just flat out can't tell this story if you're going to be worried about upsetting people, you know. And to your point, how close it was to the actual events. I mean, it was still fresh in people's minds. I mean, imagine someone doing something like this about 9/11 or something like that, you know,
Yeah.
or a school shooting.
Did it sell Westinghouse refrigerators though? Is the main question.
Westinghouse is probably. You ever heard that joke about the person opening the refrigerator and there's a rabbit inside?
What's that?
Is this a Westinghouse? Yes. Well, I'm just Westing.
Oh, okay. That took a second. I should kick you in the head for that one. It's a good one on the internet.
No, that's a terrible joke, terrible joke. But no, I didn't actually see this until I got season 1 Blu-ray, and it's on there. I had only read about it in the Twilight Zone companion.
Yeah. This was my first viewing. It is. I mean, I guess it's somewhat justifiably lost to the ethers, but
Yeah, you just don't feel. I mean, I don't know where it would fit if you were going to put this, because you wouldn't want to watch it. You'd almost need to watch this before you start season 1.
yeah. Well, that's
You're going
why
to do
we're
it right.
doing this
Yeah.
podcast more or less. So,
Yeah.
I mean, by the fact is, if you're watching the Twilight Zone now, there's a little bit of a, I'm not gonna say academic, but you're coming into it with a bird's eye view, you know.
Oh yeah, it's you can't not at this point. I mean, there's been so many books written about it and so much analysis done. I mean, and that even includes if you tear it into the bonus features of the I guess this was an Image Entertainment Blu-ray set. There's all kinds of essays and commentary and things like that, you know.
Then you have the one where they have the radio dramas, which I think are relatively recently produced.
Let's see, I've got it right near me here. The copyright date on this is 2010.
Okay, mine might be a little later, and each episode has like a radio drama version, which is kind of interesting. Sometimes longer in the episode. So I'm actually going to experiment with that in a few weeks, because my guest coming in for The Lonely apparently doesn't have access to this show, but he does to the radio drama. So we're going to see how that
There are
rolls
18
for that one.
on this one, and that's out of 30 some odd episodes.
Okay,
So
they don't all have them, but some of them do. This
Yeah.
one did not, but I wouldn't expect it to. So
yeah, I'd love to listen to that. That's some of I haven't. There's so much Twilight Zone and so much about Twilight Zone. You could spend your whole life.
Yeah, I
getting
think they're
into.
on YouTube as well for interested parties. You can roll down the street, listening to Twilight Zone in a mildly different form. So
It's pretty great, actually.
yeah. Have you ever had a time slip?
Yes. 2 times a weekend from 1993 to 1995. That was when I was in the cast of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
That's a time warp.
Well, I was into the time slip.
Yeah,
Nothing
okay.
could ever be the same.
Yes. But I did have this experience. Maybe it was around the year 2000. Maybe I've told you this before, but we were in Ocean City, Maryland, right? And we went to get lunch. I was with my father, and we go in. It looks like Popeye eats there, and we get food. It was good, and everything was like weirdly cheap and all that sort of stuff. And I remember going to the restroom. It was like that super, the super old church sort of plumbing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, but it was good, So we came back 6 months later. Let's go there again. And it's like a sports bar, and it looks like not a new sports bar. So we're like, did we actually go and like eat in like 1920 or something?
I mean, maybe you did, man.
That's my own Twilight Zone. All I got out of that was a fried oyster lunch, but that's cool. They were good.
No, the only time I've been camping, I woke up because I thought horses were outside the tent, and I swore there were, and it was so loud that I jumped outside of the tent because I thought I was going to be trampled, and there was absolutely nothing. So that's the closest I've ever gotten.
That's kind of fun, though. Of course,
it's weird, yeah. I know. I didn't ever look into the history of where we were, but damn if I wasn't certain that I was going to be trampled. It's probably just being in a weird, can't sleep outside sort of in between state, maybe.
It's weird. I like hiking, but I hate camping.
Well, you know what they say about camping?
What do they say about
It's
camping?
fucking intense.
Not when you're a Boy Scout. I hope it's not when you're a Boy Scout. I guess there's stories to
I did
the other
not
side of
mean
that
for
as well.
things to go to where they've now gone.
I was just no. When you said that, I was about to say like 80% of my camping experiences with the Boy Scouts. So I'm like, whoa, that didn't interact well.
Okay, so this isn't my fault.
But we got two main characters here. Our time traveler is Jensen, who is he's like 50s prick. We were talking about Where Is Everybody, where the guy's relatively affable, like you kind of want to
Yeah,
spend time with
this guy
him.
is not. He's the curmudgeon that then, very familiar to Twilight Zone fans.
Yeah, we do get plenty of curmudgeons, but yeah, that might be one problem here. You can't really identify with him. And then the psychologist or psychiatrist, I always get those two mixed up in which one I should call him, but he's
Yeah.
mostly just there. And yeah, you're like, I think I recognize him, but he's a character actor, so I can't remember where. That's why I did my
Yeah, I want
trivia
to say he's
earlier.
been in more episodes. And the young guy, he meets the guy who's the guy and the girl in the bar. That guy's from The Tingler. It's one of my favorite movies from that era.
Maybe that's what the time element needed. They needed to like go sneak into your house and put like a shock element under your chair.
So that would have been great. Or just, somebody finally just tears his spine out. Here's the problem.
Yeah, that could be fun. That would have been intense in the doctor's office in this episode. That would have made a very different episode.
I just think if you would have stuck Vincent Price in it in any capacity, it would have been. I don't mean to down it, man. I mean, because you are seeing, I call Where's Everybody the template or whatever. This is really should be seen as sort of the precursor, the test. I feel that the time element is the test. You're seeing Twilight Zone being born.
Like blood all over it and all.
Yeah, pooping themselves. Yes.
Yes. But and then Jensen, he very quickly goes into Biff mode and just starts, play some bets.
He does what we've seen. Yeah, you're referencing the Back to the Future, and when we talk about bird's eye view earlier in this, there's when you watch this, you'll undoubtedly think of Sports Almanac.
Yes, he's got it in his head though, so I guess he's smarter than Biff. At least he's, he just knows all these stats, which I don't see how you do, but I guess it's like I know like musical stats and stuff and
Yeah,
stats
well, at
about
one point
Twilight episodes.
they're interrogating him about who's the president and stuff, because when he's trying to say, where he's what time he's from, he's got to he's got to think backwards, and so he gets the president right, but he starts actually like pissing them off.
I actually like the vice president thing because because FDR did change a few times. So I was like, yeah, that would be like legitimately confusing. Like, who was the vice president in 1941?
Yeah, no, he cracks like a regular person would.
I knew he was going to say Truman because Truman didn't come into like 45, right? He wasn't vice president very long, I believe. I'm not even sure about that. So yeah, I just want to be, hey, any of you guys know what a TikTok is? That would have been fun.
One of them's like, is that like Periscope?
But yeah, this is a pretty notable, I guess, iteration of the Cassandra complex.
Yeah, totally true. Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
Which so again, we're not calling this one a bit of a weird bear, but it's got some plus points.
Yeah, I think it's really kind of the ending, because Rod Serling had a tendency to make these really sort of like dark downbeat endings, and I think this was part of the reason why I believe that between this and Where Is Everybody, there may have been like 4 or 5 scripts that they're just like, no way, dude. I mean, this is too like downbeat, because you got to admit, I mean, the guy does bite it. I mean, this doesn't have there's nothing resembling a fun ending here. I mean, in terms of payoff for watching it for an hour, I mean, it's grim shit.
Yeah. I mean, there is a certain thing with some of the Twilight Zones where it's like, well, there it ended. Okay.
Yeah. It's just a flip, a nice sort of gotcha moment. The thing that eludes Night Shyamalan for every movie he made after his first movie, or
What a twist.
Sixth Sense. Yeah. So it's there, but I think they probably just, I think they went back with Serling. We're like, dude, you got to give us something not only like a little bit brighter, but something that we don't have to like spoon feed the ending to people. So you may have went like too far overboard with Where Is Everybody? But this one, I think, in terms of the ending, is like better than that one.
I think the thing with a good Twilight Zone is, yeah, a great twist is great, but the rest of the episode needs to be better than that twist, which this one
Yes,
kind
it
of fails
does.
at.
Yeah, no, you're the first time you see it um is pretty okay. Because like I said, it's pretty fascinating. But after that, you're just like waiting and waiting and waiting, and you don't have that great music to listen to. You don't have the great cinematography, and you don't have that affable, like you said, character. It's really kind of a slog getting through this for me. I did rewatch it for this episode, but I think I don't know if I'll ever watch it again, quite honestly.
Because if we take, some of the hardcore classic episodes, like It's a Good Life or something, everyone knows the twist coming in. It's a cultural touchstone now.
Yeah, I
But
know.
the reason it's a classic is because the episode is really good.
Yeah, no, it's like I say, I describe those as perfect television. I mean, it's just, to me, it's just the best. And this doesn't, I you know I think knowing about the struggle just for this to even exist is also a good enough reason to find it interesting as well. I mean, you got to put it in context of the time. No one had seen anything like this.
Right, exactly. So I actually forgot to ask in our very first episode, but I did, and I said I don't want to be like, does it hold up? Although in this case, I guess it doesn't hold up as like the actual show does. So maybe I
No,
should have
I
asked
don't
that.
think
But
so. I mean, it's archival. I think that's why they don't kick off the it's not shown in the marathons, and it's not like the first thing on the disc or anything, or it's included as, sometimes when there's a show that's on streaming, the pilot will be the first episode or whatever. But when people think pilot for Twilight Zone, they do think of Where Is Everybody. They don't, a lot of people, I would be willing to bet, don't even know about this thing.
yeah, I guess this is kind of like the cage in Star Trek terms. Although
Yes, no.
the cage has the benefit of being one of the best Star Trek episodes as well. But which
Yeah, but it's
this
got that
is not.
similar. Yeah.
You get the birth pains, but yeah, that one is just fantastic. Where this one, well, there was no teeth. I mean, the cage could have done that because the Twilight Zone already existed, right? So
Yeah. No, and
anyway,
that's a fair point, actually.
the two questions I want to get out instead though are I used to write all my psychedelic music record reviews, right, with the tripometer. So I think I'm bringing back the tripometer for this.
Okay.
On a scale of 5, you can give a decimal point if you'd like. Where does this lie on the tripometer?
God, I would almost say, I would almost give it like a solid 3.5, but that's really because of the ending. I don't think as a sum of its parts, it's more of a 2.5.
Yeah, I was gonna go 2.7 myself because I
Okay,
like
yeah.
to. I offered you decimals, so we could use
Yeah,
them in
if
interesting ways.
I think the most interesting bits of this are like the first and last 10 minutes.
And the other question, I'm not sure if this question is going to stick or not. Does this person deserve their trip into the Twilight Zone? This guy is such a prick. Sure, why not? I guess would be my take. But
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you have to like the lead character. I'm a fan of anti-heroes, not like edgelord type anti-heroes, but you know what I mean though. I don't think it has to be a likable character in order for you to like want to see them come out of it okay. So he's not like an incredible asshole. He hasn't committed any sort of, other than the cheating, infractions that would be like, yeah, he kind of does have to die. You know what I mean? And so, no, I don't think so. I think, does he deserve to go into the Twilight Zone? I don't like seeing him there, so maybe not.
I guess, and the other thought is, who exactly was in the Twilight Zone? You could make the argument it's his therapist as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
he's the
no,
one that survives the episode, right?
that's why I say the last 10 minutes and the first are the most interesting, because of the way this ends, to where, him dying, the lead character dying, you then have the therapist sort of like look up and the guy's not even there. And then he goes in to the bar and sees the guy's picture there, and they're like, oh, he died or whatever. And so you get your gotcha moment. That's a classic-ish Twilight Zone trope there. But I would argue that, yeah, it's a dream of a dream.
I just kept thinking of Jack Nicholson's, 4th of July picture in The Shining, right?
Yep. No, that's a perfect example. I when I watched it, that's how I felt it happened. I think this was something that this was an invention of the therapist.
But yeah, if you are coming along on our trip, and this is going to be like the bonus episode that accompanies the first one, as makes sense, I think. So
yeah,
but it's definitely interesting just to chart how this thing became a thing. So in that way, it is essential viewing, but probably once is fine, because there are actual episodes of the show that do the same thing a whole lot better.
Yeah, and I'm when we get to those later seasons where they are doing the hour-long ones, they're not the ones I mean, I tune those out sort of sometimes when I'm doing the whole run, those aren't among I'd be hard pressed to tell you now which one I think is the best.
Right. I have an answer, but I guess I'll just sit on that for a while.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen those as much either. So
yeah, no, they're again not played in the marathons usually. So
yeah. As for today, I guess tell them where you're at.
I'm not in the Twilight Zone. I'm here in the United States. Yeah, I'm fairly certain, because I would hope that the desserts would be better in the Twilight Zone. Gonzorific, GONZORIFFIC. This is my friends and I, and we have a show coming up November 12th and 13th at Athens Cine Theater. It's our 20th anniversary show. Going to be showing a bunch of short subjects that perhaps Twilight Zone fans will enjoy. And then for those who can't make it to that area, we are going to stream it on YouTube, Gonzorific YouTube channel, on November the 14th.
All right. This is Time Enough Podcast. We are part of the Podcastius Patreon bubble. We also talk about sci-fi movies with Matt Luke's Sci-Fi Sanctuary, ephemeral weirdness on oral hygiene, and for folks that want to hear about Pokemon or Monster Hunter, those sort of podcasts also exist in that sphere. Come throw a dime. We keep the lights on in there. It's cool. We want to get through this whole Twilight Zone, right?
You've got to. You can't start this stuff and then not make it all the way through. I mean, that's just
wrong. Oh yes, and my last question: is this a better love story than Twilight?
Yeah, but then again, the back of the weed killer bottle near me is a better love story than Twilight.